and welcome to Destination Hoth. That we had to re-edit this part because I said something different because I'm so used to doing the other radio. I have a radio show on CHO 89.1 here in the nation's capital, Ottawa. It's I do a breakfast show, so I was saying, hey, welcome to the breakfast show. But this is Destination Hoth, your spot for now. We decided that we like to talk about everything because we love talking. Our wives can attest to that. And we decided to switch it over. Like, we are going to talk about Star Wars because that's our love. He's wearing a Star Wars hat right now. But I should wear mine. I should go get my Star Wars hat. But we are going to talk about, in general, everything about sci-fi, cartoons, everything that makes comic books, anything that makes us
porn. Well,
I don't know if the wives will let us talk about that. And I do have a porn star that I follow once in the blue moon. Not now, honey, not now. Before I was, well, this one girl, she was really, okay, we can talk about later on.
You're releasing way too much information. You're going to get yourself into a couch situation. Man.
Like that Saturday Night Live, on the couch. I love it. All right, so a little track off of what we were talking before. There was an SNL skit where they brought in The Weeknd. And it's a story about, like, it started off with these guys.
The artist from Scarborough, Ontario.
Yes, they are Canadian artists.
Not like the end of the week.
No. So it started off with him singing. And you see them singing about, like, love and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, I'm on the couch. And it's always little episodes of them being on the couch. Like, I talked to my wife and I told her on the couch, I told her she was looking good in that dress, but then I said she kind of looked too fat on the couch, so it's like, it was really good. So if you get a chance, look for the On the Couch song from SNL. But yes, once again, we're here today. We are going to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Spoilers ahead. I'm your host, once again, the big mouth on the mic, Daddy Rich, alongside
Jedi Dave. So
we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about the movie just came out, Mortal Kombat. And we're also
spoiler free.
Spoiler free, yeah, because I haven't seen it yet. So
yeah,
and at the end, the Titanic came in and it sank. And then we also going to talk about the Shang-Chi movie coming out soon in September the 3rd. So it's around the corner. Like, Marvel is going to be. There's a lot of stuff for Marvel. Let's start off with that. All right, let's start with that. There's a lot of stuff from Marvel this year. Throughout the pandemic, they've been doing mostly streaming from the Disney Plus. There are some theaters open in the States. There's some theaters in Canada that are open, but mostly it's been through streaming. They started this year strong with WandaVision, a great TV series. Moved into Falcon and Winter Soldier. They got Loki coming up in June.
Bad Batch
for Star Wars. I'm talking about Marvel, but we'll get back to Star Wars. And also we got the Black Widow movie coming up. I think it's either before or after. I think it's after Loki, and then we're moving into more movies again. And then you got Shang-Chi, and then you got Spider-Man. So Marvel is ready to go for this pandemic. And starting off with WandaVision was an amazing show. It got my wife into it. We both sat through the whole thing and watched it. And then we moved into Falcon and Winter Soldier. And now it's called Captain and Winter Soldier. Little spoiler at the end. Now, the rumors are that they were trying to keep this quiet for the longest time. All right, we're jumping ahead to the spoilers, but at the end of the story, they were talking about doing a second season of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Well, it's now called Captain America and Winter Soldiers. So it was under hush until they actually put the Falcon and Winter Soldier in the category for the Golden Globes and all the other stuff for a series. So that was the whole secret. So they are going to be coming out, well, still kind of rumors, but they are going to be coming out with a second season of Captain and Winter Soldier, or they might change it to Captain the White Wolf. You never know. But they are doing a Captain America movie, Captain America 4. All right, and they already got the writer set to do it, and we don't know what the story is going to be. Supposedly, Chris Chris Evans is coming back as Captain America. Well, not coming back as Captain America, but
Steve Rogers.
Steve Rogers will because he's becoming back as Steve Rogers. He's signed for at least 2 more movies in his contract. So 2 or 3 movies. I think it's 2 more movies in his contract to come back. So we don't know what's going to go on after that. But let's get into our conversation about the Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'll let you start off. Go right ahead.
Sure. Okay, so we'll start off with Falcon and Winter Soldier. So the show was 6 episodes. The first season was 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Everything that happened was predictable. I mean, we had talked about
was it really? Was it?
It was for the most part. I mean, like, I felt that this series would be about setting up the next Captain America.
Yeah.
We believed that it should be Sam Wilson because that's who was Captain America, I believe, last. And then, of course, the fact that Steve handpicked him to be his replacement. So, and after the whole 6 episodes were completed, we were on cloud 9. Like, I don't know about you, but I was emotional. I think, like, this is the big premise of this episode, that we're going to talk about representation in film and how important it is for us to see ourselves in the characters that we watch. It was kind of cool when you think about what Stan Lee had once said, that his Marvel comics, or the comic books that came out, were usually a product of the time, right? They were a representation of what was going on in the world in that moment. So when he had characters like Luke Cage appear, they were dressed and acted and were a representation of what was going on in the Black community at that time. So to see what Marvel is doing with their films and their television shows is exactly the way Stan Lee would have wanted those Marvel projects to be, because they are a representation of the time. So there's so much topic that was discussed in those 6 episodes. Not only, honestly, it was kind of about what we were dealing with the pandemic and the fact that we're kind of being isolated and alone and separated from each other. And then you see, like, this group called the Flag Smashers, and they sort of pop up where they were obviously everyone was unhappy when the snap happened, where all of a sudden half the population of the universe was just had vanished. But at the same time, it brought the world together, right? And usually people come together in grief. They come together when they're dealing with loss. So all of a sudden, it was one world, one people, and you hear that constantly through this first season. The idea that no longer are we seeing ourselves as in divided nations or divided ethnicities, divided religions, divided genders, even like divided culture. It's really about bringing the earth together and being one people. And then all of a sudden, the Avengers saved the universe and half the universe was brought back. And then, thanks to Tony Stark, Iron Man with the snap. But the sad part is that actually, no, I think it was the Hulk that did the snap that brought everyone back, though. But it's in the sad part, though, is that now you see this group who's trying to move forward, and they are represented as terrorists, or they're represented as the villain, but they really have a message. And the last speech in that last episode by Sam Wilson, now wearing a new Captain America costume made by Wakandans, which is just brilliant to see a new Captain America costume / Falcon costume, because the wings are there too. It was, I don't know about you, like, I was emotional just seeing that.
Well, you look at this way, how they started this, they call it the blip, but you're right. It's at the time where the blip, or the snap, I call it the snap. When the snap happened, everyone was gone. There was less people in the world. People were misplaced. People were missing people who care about people, right? And it was just like, the trying to come together after this big catastrophe, right? And you're right, everyone came together. People were moving around the world. People moved into the house. So say that you got snapped, and your family got snapped, and someone's like saw your house and they moved into it, and they lived in your community and helping your community out and stuff like that, right? There were so many things that happened when the snap happened. Then after the blip or snap, whatever you want to call it, I call it the snap. When Hulk brought back the people who were missing for 5 years, they're appearing in their own house where there's someone's in their house. You know what I'm saying? So that was the big issue: is what do we do with all these people who moved over to the United States, moved over to Europe, moved over to Canada, moved over to this from here and there because they wanted to try something new, or if they needed the person there. Like if you're a doctor, they need more doctors. If you're an engineer, they need more engineer. If you're whatever the situation may be, you move to this place, right? Because you don't know if people are gonna come back. You're like, what's gonna happen, right? So the question is how should they deal with it? Should they just put everyone into camps and just let their countries deal with it after the fact, saying, hey, you're going back
Terrible idea.
You're going back to well.
It's never worked in the past.
Is it?
I wouldn't want to see concentration camps.
Well, I'm not going to say it's not concentration camp, but I mean,
But the idea is like, I think I loved the moment too where Sam and his sister Sarah, they go and they try to get a loan, right? And they can't even be approved for a loan because they haven't made an income or anything for the last 5 years. But they haven't existed for 5 years.
He haven't existed for 5 years or something like that, too, right?
Meanwhile, this guy is a hero. Like he saved the universe, not only the country or the world, but the universe.
Yeah.
And yet can't get a bank loan, right? Yeah. And there was like that whole scene. I think was that the second or third episode where, he like the guy's like, can I get a selfie with you? Can I get a picture with you? Can I like he's so in admiration over the fact that he's meeting Sam Wilson, the Falcon, right? An Avenger. But at the same time,
Black Falcon.
No, he's never called Black Falcon. There's like this moment where he goes into this community and this kid's like, "Oh, it's Black Falcon," and he's like, "Why?" Because I'm the Falcon and I'm black. And he goes, "So what's your name, Black Kid?" Right? and it's actually a cool story because
you could tell the story.
But for the longest time, like comic book characters, like if they had a black superhero, the name Black, the word Black was in the name,
like Lightning,
right,
and all that
like
stuff.
Black Panther,
Black
even
Panther.
Right? Green Lantern, I think, was the first to not have Black in the name, right? Where John Stewart became the Green Lantern.
Yeah.
But with Falcon and Power Man and like Marvel kind of wanted to push it even more, right? Where they tried to make more superheroes where they didn't have the word Black in it. So they really addressed it in that whole one scene, right? Like what? Just because I'm an African American, I got to be Black Falcon. I can't just be the Falcon. It was such a great moment.
But it was funny. But it was funny at the end where they're taking pictures of Sam, and they're like blah 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 Sam blah 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 blah, and it's like Black Sam or something like that. So it's kind of funny.
Oh my god! And then there was the moment too, and I think it was that same episode where he leaves the house after meeting Isaiah, and then he walks out and they're about to be arrested.
Just because he was black.
Just because he was black. The cops that go to arrest him, oh, sorry, Mr. Wilson, I thought you were someone else. Like, what?
So,
like, how angry were you? Like, I was angry.
So,
like, I think for 6 episodes of that show, it was an emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, but I mean,
like you're up and down like the whole time, and I mean that's great writing, and it's great acting, and it's great direction.
Yeah,
like that you can't just put that out there. Like people watch something and they go, "Oh my god, I was so moved," or "Oh, I was so excited," and they think that just happens, right?
Yeah.
Like you need the right people working on a project to be able to draw the emotions out of you that you are expected to be drawn.
See,
right?
I think at the time, now mind you, some of the storyline was cut because of the pandemic. The part of the storyline there was it was supposed to be the Flag Smashers were supposed to release a sort of plague to the world, but they cut that out because of the pandemic. They didn't have time to film some of it, so they had to work around it. What a huge
message that would have been at this time.
They worked around it in a sense because some of them had to be reshot because they took time. As soon as the pandemic hit, they were still filming Falcon and Winter Soldier, so they had to take time, and that's why you feel like if you look at the storyline for the leader of the Flag Smasher, you kind of like didn't feel too much for her per se.
But man, did she work with what she had.
They worked with what they had. Had to
so
do.
That is an Irish actress named Erin Kellyman,
yeah.
And if you are a Star Wars fan, as we clearly are, she played Enfys Nest in the Solo movie.
Yeah.
She is not getting enough work.
Oh.
Like I've only seen her in a couple of projects.
Yeah,
she is out of this world brilliant. And what is she, like 23?
I think 22? 22. She was young.
Like, she is a young actress, and she's got a huge future.
But
man.
the story I thought for Falcon and Winter Soldier was well put together, and I agree with you. The writing was there with the whole idea that Sam was given this shield because Steve saw him in himself. Like he saw this person that is good, a person that I believe can lift that hammer himself too, if need be. And
which has become our metaphor.
Yeah.
Daddy Rich and I have like this metaphor. How good are you? How honorable are you?
Could you lift
Can
Thor's
you
hammer?
lift that hammer? Yeah.
So, and he sees it. He sees it in him, and he's like, "Listen, this is for you. Like, I'm done. They need a Captain America. They need a hero in the world, right? He's not a super soldier. He's just a regular guy, other than having abs and works out better than me and Dave right now.
He's a badass fighter.
But he's a badass fighter,
good-looking guy.
You know,
yeah,
so
like, typical stuff.
You know, we're good looking as it is right now. You know,
I don't know if I'm in the Anthony Mackie category, but yeah,
well, George Clooney, I guess. You know, but once again, like it takes the storyline where he had to figure out what works. Like now in the comics, it was Bucky becomes Captain America because Captain America went missing, so Bucky took over. It wasn't a pass down. It was
violent Cap.
Yeah, he Bucky Cap, and and he took over. But for in the comics for Sam, he actually sacrificed himself. Where there was a bomb that he had to try to get rid of this bomb. It was going to explode and kill everyone. So he ended up taking the bomb and flying all the way up in the sky, and it's just exploded. And no one thought he's going to survive. He came back, and he did survive. And Cap saw this and helped him out, and then ended up passing it over to him because it was kind of similar what Steve Rogers did in that scene in the first Avenger or first is it the first Avenger?
Yeah,
first Avenger.
America, first Avenger.
Where they threw the grenade on the Glon, and he would have sacrificed himself,
right,
to save
no powers,
everyone. No
skill,
powers at the
no
time,
athletic ability,
nothing.
Yeah.
So if you go back to that flashback, that's what he saw in Sam, a person that could do it, could be that hero, will run into a burning building to save people, would try to get someone out of a car if that is going to explode, and he takes all that. So as you go through the story, you're wondering why Sam didn't want the shield. He ended up giving the shield to the government. And once again, we can go back. The shield does not belong to the United States government. So we know where it belongs now. And the question was, could he be the next Captain America? And he's like, in his head, he has the doubt. He doesn't believe that he could be the next Captain America. Now, the doubt wasn't the fact that he didn't think he can do it physically. He wasn't worried about, like, you saw the training he did. The flips are amazing. Everything he did, and I will go back and watch that again. He was amazing in everything. It was the understanding that, and this comes out when you see episode, there's 6 episodes. So episode 5, when he went back and talked to Isaiah, where it's in his mind, and there's a lot of podcasters out there who say that, you know, Captain America should only stay with the white Captain America. There shouldn't be any black Captain America. Now let's before I go further into my thing, Captain America is just a name of your job. You know, it's not Black Panther. It's not who could I say? I'm trying to think of a name that this superhero have to be. I can't get into it, but you know what I mean.
I know what you're saying. Right?
Yeah,
so Black Panther needs to be a black character.
Yeah,
right. Like
I'm just trying to think of another
certain like Storm being from Africa. Like you kind of feel like that.
You can still use Storm's name. Like once again, if the character doesn't fit the name of it, then it doesn't fit. But once again, Captain, it could be anyone. If you watch Star Trek, I can go into Star Trek now. If you watch Star Trek, there's a lot of captains. You know, in Star Trek, there's a lot of captains in the real world. You know what I'm saying? Like there's not only one captain. There's a lot of captains out there who are Canadians. Right. There's Captain Canadians all around.
Those would be the best ones.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just telling you. So his conversation with Isaiah in episode 5 actually, if you go back to what he was thinking when he got the shield, actually explains why he felt that he wasn't worthy of that field. Because he feel that being a black man and all the stuff that's going on right now in the States, in the world, but being a black man, if you're not in his head, if you're not that white, blue-eyed superhero, then it doesn't. He can't be that Captain America. And then do you
feel though that it was him thinking that he wasn't worthy, or that the public wasn't ready?
I think
I
think
felt he was confident in himself. I don't think he was confident in the public.
I don't think he was. There's partly I could say he's not confident in himself, but also part of it I could say he is confident in himself. Like being a black male, like you look at certain things that you feel comfortable with. I still don't feel comfortable when I walk into a store because I feel like they're always watching me. I'm not going to steal anything, but it just feels like I have to do a certain way, or if I get pulled over by cops, I'm still kind of like on edge, right? So there's a lot of things that this show shows for him to work through himself to find if he could be like that one line. If anyone become Captain America from Isaiah, if anyone become Captain America who's black is not, it's a fool. You're a fool. Why would you do that? Because everyone's going to look down on you as, you're a fool. There's no, even when Obama got into to become president of the United States, there were black people hating on him, saying that he wasn't doing too much. Mind you, he's the first black president. We never had, I say we, I keep on saying we because I'm, it just, it feels like it's me. But they never had a first black president before. This is the first, right. Mind you, he's multicultural, but still, he's the first black president. And he spoke in his autobiography when he got in, he's the first. There's no one else. He didn't know what to do. Like he had to try to at least please some people so they won't say he's too black and we don't want him, and stuff like that. So it's kind of,
and like you said, there's the black community saying he wasn't doing enough.
He wasn't doing enough for the black community. So
and you're kind of locked into that situation where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
And once again, it goes back to Sam's choice of what he wants to do. So at the end of the whole thing, we finally sees that he have to do what he feels right. And what he feels right is to become Captain America, to help people, to take on the honor that Steve passed on to him and say, listen, you are the man. Being on the moon, Steve can see that, you know what I'm saying? And but I don't know if Captain America's on the moon, but whatever. But there's a lot of people like saying that the name Captain America should be only for Steve Rogers, and I will say nay. It's a title that can go to anyone. It's like winning a championship belt. It will move on to the next person. Doesn't matter if it's black, white, green, purple, blue, or wherever the situation is. But I think that's why it is. And now after Sam did this. He now have kids. Like you see that episode, you remember the episode I think the same episode 5, where
when Bucky's sleeping on the couch
and the kids, and it goes back to the conversation me and Dave have way back when, and we kind of had it not heated, but we discussed it, and it was a conversation where I was at the time Star Wars, and always goes back to Star Wars. You gotta love our show. When Star Wars just came out, the Force Awakens, and I was so excited when I saw Finn with this lightsaber. I'm like, oh my god, a black Jedi already in the series. I'm like, I was like freaking out because I'm like, he's like my Luke Skywalker. It's gonna be awesome. And long story, it didn't turn out that way, but that's a longer story. But Dave didn't understand at the time when I was trying to say that. It's growing up as a black youth, as a kid who was into all the sci-fi stuff, who was into Star Wars, who was into all the stuff that kids were into, and you always you emulate who your heroes are. Like Superman to Spider-Man to I was dressing up as Spider-Man, and I was just like a black kid running around. I was playing as Luke Skywalker, and I was just a kid with a lightsaber, right? You know what I'm saying? And it just, it was felt good. But I know you couldn't understand what I was trying to say, and it felt like I was just hitting a wall when I was trying to get to the point that.
The hard part about things like this is I think it's difficult for people to understand because it's not a situation that they've been experienced.
Yeah.
Right. Like when I saw Luke Skywalker, I saw him as inspirational because he was kind of growing up in poverty. Like his moisture farmers, they weren't really doing well.
And that's related to you.
Right. And that's something that I was able to relate to growing up in poverty.
Yeah.
The idea. And also I remember I was having the conversation and I had said, well, what about Mace Windu? Right. What about there are other black Jedi
characters.
But you brought up, it wasn't even just that they were side characters. They weren't the main character in the sense that they were young. Right. There was the character that was centered into the storyline, and you could follow along and say, that's me.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one of those things where as a Caucasian person, obviously I would never see that because everyone was me. Right? Like every superhero.
Well,
honestly, obviously I have Native American or Native Canadian background, but the reality is that I grew up Scottish. Like we were raised in a Scottish upbringing, and every character looked like me.
Yeah.
So it was difficult for me to, don't get me wrong, like when I was a kid, I signed to the Dragon. And I was like, man, I wanted to be that guy.
Yeah.
Right. And we were able to do that. Like you could still be a martial artist and be Caucasian.
Yeah.
You could
Bruce Lee. You
right,
have
you could watch anything. Like
yeah.
I could see, honestly, I could be Black Panther because you could put the mask on. You could be whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
I mean, my son is a huge Black Panther fan. Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is that as an African American kid, you wouldn't be able to feel that way. You're looking at characters and thinking, okay, like Spider-Man would be one of those characters that you could go, I could be that guy, because it could be anyone under the mask.
Yeah.
But watching Luke Skywalker, watching Captain America, like the idea too is like you were saying, like anybody can be that because it's simply a title.
Yeah.
But it's also an important title. It's an important image that represents America.
Yeah.
And I think before we continue, let's just quickly say, like, Isaiah, for those of you who haven't watched the show, Isaiah was this character who was exactly like Steve Rogers. Like he'd given the super soldier serum. Which, if you follow the storyline, a lot of the people would die or not succeed in getting anything from the super soldier serum. You had to be pretty special for you to successfully get this serum and not go crazy or not go mad and become a villain and stay a hero. And so Isaiah was one of those guys who was able to do that. And he went in, he rescued American soldiers, he did all these things for the American government and was this iconic hero. But they didn't want him to be out there in the public. They didn't want him to be the image that people saw. So they locked him away. Like his wife thought he had died. Like they separated.
Yeah, they told her that he died.
Told her that he had died.
Yeah.
Like they destroyed his life.
Yeah.
And so much of that was a lot like the Tuskegee experiments, right?
Yeah.
The idea that you have these Americans who are sacrificing themselves for their country and they got treated like garbage and treated like trash. And like, and there's a moment after, like you were saying, where he says, look, you'd have to be an idiot to be an actor, to be a black man and want to be Captain America. You have to be like this. And then Sam is talking to Sarah, his sister, and he says, look, Sam went to hell, or Isaiah went to hell and back.
And I would probably be the same way, he said.
Right.
Yeah.
I would feel the same way if I had lived in the life that he lived in, but I'm not him. And I'm not going to allow someone else's experience to dictate the choices I make and the decisions I make as a man.
So true.
And then that moment in the last episode, my God, I lost my mind. I think it was one of the 3 times where I thought I was going to start crying.
Oh my God, I was so emotional.
But it's like that moment where he says, like, that black people built this country.
Yeah.
Right? Black people have defended this country. Who are you to tell me that as a black man that I can't fight for this country, right? That I can't be a Captain America. Yeah. I was like, and it is so true. Like those people out there, like you were saying, other podcasters or whatever that say, you know, like he should stay a white character, then they're not really understanding their country.
The name should be given to him. No.
The United States of America is supposed to be a multicultural country. It's supposed to be a country where people from all over the world were able to come and escape persecution.
What was the slogan back in the days? Was bring us your tired,
bring us your sick, bring us your poor, like it's actually on the plaque on the Statue of Liberty, when you come into Ellis Island. So the idea of like the idea that you would think that a person has to look a certain way to represent America is insane. That doesn't, then that in itself is counterproductive, where it doesn't represent American ideals.
Well, I'll give you a sample. When in the story, when you sit in there telling Sam, and it's such a sad story about a man who was taken away from his wife. He joined the American army to protect his country. He was given the serum, said it was a tetanus shot. His troop, the people who he's with who got the tetanus shot, most of them died off, and then they send him off on missions. That's where he bumped into to Bucky, where he nearly beats Bucky. Oh no, he did beat Bucky. Sorry, he beat Bucky, and sent him on missions and stuff like that. And then they bring them back, and then his crew, his men like Bucky got captured. They were locked away, and then he found out they were going to destroy the base with them because they don't want the information that they have secret soldiers out there. He did the Captain America thing where he went in, broke out of the place they were holding him, went after his crew, went in there, took them all out, and brought his troops back, and they were locked up until they died. And the only way he got out is because one of the nurses there felt so sorry for him.
That's right.
And wrote down saying, hey, he's dead, blah, blah, blah. And he got out. and then it leads into the story where he's sitting there and saying, listen, you're right, I would never be that guy, I would never be Captain America. Mind you, he did the same thing that Captain America did. When he found out Bucky was captured, he went back, broke everyone out, and he came back as a hero. But with this black man, he went in, he came back and get locked up in prison, not as a hero. But at the end of the story, if we move into episode 6, you find out that that Sam reached out to the American government and asked them to put his story into the Hall of Fames of Heroes.
And what a message too! Like, I think it was a week after that episode it aired, where Isaiah made his first appearance, or maybe a 2 weeks afterwards.
2 weeks. It was episode 4, I think, or episode.
But there was that young American soldier who was beaten up by the police.
Yeah,
right. For simply not having his license plate visible to their eye. I mean, honestly, like, there's such a message there. Like, I'm gonna get emotional and stuff, but I think. For me, I'm 47 years old, right? We're in our 40s. We grew up in a very, I feel like we grew up during the best time in human history.
Well, everyone was fighting for the rights and wasn't fighting against each other.
We grew up like
AIDS came out.
Born, we were
homophobes.
Born, people still played board games. They still talked to each other. There's still conversation. We still sat and listened to our grandparents tell us stories of the world that came before it, and we absorbed all of that, and it turned us into the people we are today.
Well, and that's how we became friends. That's how we became friends. We met, and at first I was like, "Who's this guy? He's the white Jason." I'm like, "Come on!"
I had a shaved head at the time, so Jay thought I was a skinhead.
We were like, "He's like the white Jason." I'm like, "Get the hell out of here! He's not the white Jason." And then, sorry, Daddy Rich. That's my real name, but Daddy Rich. But it was just so funny. It was just we met, and then we just became friends. And now we're not even friends anymore. We're past that now.
We're family.
We're family. It's
100% family.
It's brother. It's like if he needs a kidney, I'll give him a kidney at the end of the day. But we never.
I give my kidney now.
I
got like the cleanest kidneys on the planet. I've never had a drop of alcohol. I think like they're clean. But you'll need a kidney before me. I'll give it to you. You got it.
We never saw each other as black or white. We saw each other as people. I
remember us. We went to like a Swish LA. So for Americans who don't know, we have this place called a Swish LA. It's like a fast food restaurant. It's not fast food. It's like a restaurant.
It's a restaurant chain.
But you can sit in it, like not now because of the pandemic, but it's a sit-in restaurant where you get like rotisserie chicken
for a good price,
fries, gravy, good price.
Yeah.
Like nothing, like not cheap, but good.
Yeah.
But we were sitting there, and there was a brother and a sister named Donna and Brody. So we're sitting there, and we had just started hanging out with each other, and Daddy Rich is going on this rant about how white people and black people should not hang out with each other, and he's going on and on and on, and I'm just sitting there quietly eating my French fries, chowing down some gravy, and then Brody's like, I don't understand, man. You hang out with this guy all the time, and Daddy Rich was like, oh no, Dave's different. Because
I never saw you. I honestly I never saw this guy as a white guy. I saw this guy as Dave, as my buddy who we can go get milkshakes at Burger King at 2 a.m. and sit there
2 or 3 in the morning
and sit there and watch people come out of clubs and laugh at them because they're stumbling around. This is the best beep beep in the world. Okay, so me and Dave were up at 2 a.m. All right, this is a funny story because we couldn't sleep and we're crazy. I'm like, I come picked him up. At the time I was working for
we're in our 20s, like early 20s back then too. We could stay up late.
Yeah,
so we had the energy to do it.
I came pick him up because I was working with the dry cleaning company at the time, and I had the van. So I'm like, yeah, let me come grab you. And there was a bed in the back. And he's like, what's going on, Dave, buddy? Nothing. So it was the owner.
I don't like that there's no windows in this van.
So I come grabbed him. We went for some milkshakes. We usually go to Burger King because that was the only place that opened at the time. McDonald's wasn't around then.
24 hours.
24 hours. And we just, grabbed milkshake. We sat there. And we're just talking like we usually do.
Downtown Ottawa.
And we're just talking. And then all of a sudden the bar's loud. And this one girl came out of the bar and she was arguing with some guys and
you can
whatever.
Use the words, man. It's
just one girl, and she's coming outside and she's talking about this is the best pum pum. I can say that because it's Jamaican. The best pum pum in the world. If you guys know what panani is, that's the best panani pum pum. All right, in the world. And it was mean that we just like I literally spit out my milkshake because that was just hilarious because he was just why is she arguing with these guys? Because I guess the guy turned her down or something like that.
She got kicked out of the bar.
I guess
she was too drunk and crazy. Yeah,
but
like it was. You know what though? Like that's That is what it is. It was the old school days. But yeah, like
ahead.
and then like we started bonding from there. But like I remember us, all the kids were lined up outside for Phantom Menace tickets. So they're
Oh,
outside for
jeez, that
episode
was a long
one,
wait.
like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. Daddy Rich and I are playing football with nerds, which made us look like we were like
Jocks.
2007 New England Patriots, man. Like we were bad.
Why were we out there that morning? We just went for a drive, I guess. It was just weird.
We were like, let's go check out the nerds, and like they're all lined up to get Phantom Menace tickets.
It was like it was early in the morning. It was early in the morning. It was like 1. We used to stay out late. Wow.
Stay up late.
Wow.
But I mean, the idea though is that element. I remember going. I gotta say this too. We went to Daddy Rich's wedding.
Yeah.
It was the most multicultural wedding I've ever gone to, and to see so many different people who looked so many different ways. That's the world, man. That's the way the world is supposed to be. Like, it's so petty to think that human beings should be put into corners or put into a different category simply because of the color of their skin. As gory as it might sound, you cut open a man, they look the same on the inside.
Or
right?
a woman. Or a
they,
or she. Or they, or them.
Whatever. And the idea, though, is that to live in a world where people are judged based on the color of their skin is I just feel that it's 2021. We should have evolved past this.
It's
point.
not even the color of the skin. It's also religion. You have people who are Muslims.
Sexual
orientation. That's why I think it was such a good ending with the speech. And I think he might get a Golden Globe or Emmy for this, because he was so amazing at the end. Like, the speech was just like it makes you open your eyes and see we're not fighting each other for the color, for our religion, for our sex orientation. We're fighting each other because the people that are in power are controlling that, and that's what they want. They want us to fight each other, because if we fight each other, we're not going to worry about.
We're not paying attention to them.
Yeah, it's like the old magic trick. You look at the hand over here, but this hand is doing something different, and that's what it is.
True, like, it's so true. Like, when I
don't mean to get political too much on here.
No, but you know what though? Like, I'm glad that you brought that up, because like when I was like, I got interested in politics when I was 7 years old, right? Like I actually went to University of Ottawa. That's how we ended up meeting, because I was in school in Ottawa and I was studying political science there. So the idea is that when I was 7 years old, we went on a trip to Florida. We got lost, right? And so to me, what America was because we're Canadian. We're from Canada. I grew up in Canada where I was growing up poor, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it. I wasn't as bad as I saw in Tampa, Florida, right? So or Orlando. We got lost. To me, movies and music was my representation of America. That's what I saw. So everyone was happy, everyone was wealthy. There was like this land of the free, home of the brave, and everyone was like willing to die and fight for their country. And so like all of a sudden I saw people living in shacks and their clothes spewed all over the place from the winds the night before. And I just suddenly thought, like, how could a country so wealthy, so powerful, allow for its own people to suffer, right? And it became the very first political opinion I ever had, and it was what got me interested in politics. I loved comic books and I loved superheroes, and I always thought, like, if I could be a superhero and change the world, it'd be the greatest thing ever. But in reality, the only people who really truly can change the world is government, is politicians. They're the ones that don't have to knock on other people's doors. They're the door that gets knocked on. They're the ones that make the decisions, and they're elected to make decisions for the betterment of all people, not just specific groups. And that's
we're getting too political.
The third time I got emotional though was that moment where he's saying, like, you're letting people down. You're not asking why. You're not asking why are people killing each other in the streets. Why are people terrorizing other people? Like, stop using that word. Stop using the word terrorist, he said. Like, I was like, let's talk about why. And I think it's important to do that. Once you and this is what I love, like, as it comes back, where we had that conversation about Finn in
Star Wars,
seeing a black Jedi. The idea was that I didn't understand it at the time, and all it took was for me to communicate and listen to what someone else had to say to understand what the other side was talking about.
That's what I was gonna say. Like, you have a daughter, and the fact that now women
Birthday's
are.
this week.
Yeah, I know.
19 years old, man.
I got her a gift. I'm sending out this week. But yeah, so happy birthday to
Shout out to my
Em.
daughter, Emily.
What's up, Em? All right,
we
so we do love you. She's 19. I'm getting old. I'm getting
I
old.
know, isn't it crazy?
I'm getting so old. Now, the point I was trying to say is that not only that now we have women now representing in the movie TV series. There's a lot of women who are leaders, and I'm curious about your opinion about that. Now you see in Star Wars, Rey was the lead Jedi in this one. Like, how did you feel about that? Seeing like now your daughter can see like Wonder Woman out there. She can see Captain Marvel. She can see in Star Wars Rey. You have in Mandalorian. You even had she got kicked off, but she was in it too. There were a lot of ladies in some good lead roles.
Yeah, the Gina Carano character was so important. Like it was such a great character. I think I 100% agree with you. Like it's so amazing to have a little girl, or to even have women in this world, or even people who identify as women, right? That they can sit there and see themselves represented in that same context, right? It's not just in African American cultures, but Native American culture, right? Like and of course Asian culture, which we're going to get into later.
Next. I can't wait.
Right. So the idea though is that like for women in general, like I always say this, there's like an hierarchy. There's a chain of people who have dealt with suffering, right? So for like African Americans who have dealt with slavery and oppression and mistreatment for almost 500 years in the United States of America, and the gay community and everyone else who has dealt with so much oppression, women have dealt with it since the beginning of time, right? As soon as there were two genders, I believe women have dealt with enough shit in this world that they have something to say.
Yeah.
And to see characters like Rey, to see characters like Cara Dune, to see characters like Black Widow, to see Wonder Woman, to see Supergirl. I mean, there are so many characters now, but the biggest thing for me is not just those characters inspiring young girls to become whatever they want to become, but it's the people on the other side of the camera as well.
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot more projects directed by women. We're seeing a lot more scripts written by women, right? We're seeing producing done by women, right? And you look at like Kathleen Kennedy, her name is attached to our entire childhood. Every time I look at a movie poster from something I love, like Goonies, anything, there's her name. And yet now she's getting so much backlash, and you know there's such a hint of misogyny. Not even a hint. It is just misogynistic to attack her and think that the producer is single-handedly responsible for anything that you disliked in a script or you disliked in a storyline. But what she's doing is she's adapting as well, which some producers will not do. I remember the story Kevin Smith told about the original concept that they were going to come up with for Superman. They wanted the giant spider attacking Superman, and their ideas were just ridiculous, right? That's what a producer can do to a film. Yeah. Kathleen Kennedy does not do that. She's hiring people and trusting them to make those decisions and put that product forward.
Yeah, but no, she does give an idea of what she wants from the storyline, I guess.
And we've all agreed that with the sequel trilogy, the only problem was the continuity, that there wasn't a Kevin Feige, like you said, that stood in the background and said, make sure that all this meshes together. And they've adapted, though, because the products that they've had outside of that and since have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Right? So... but seeing women writing, seeing women producing, seeing women directing, that's so much bigger than me. Like Patty Jenkins will be the first woman to direct a Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And it's been over 40 years since Star Wars first debuted, and it took us this long to see a woman directing it. And look at Mandalorian though. Mandalorian has had women, female directors, black directors, right?
Yeah.
Like they've gone out of their way to make sure that they're getting an equal amount of representation for the face of the world.
Even Obi-Wan is going to have a woman director on that series right there.
So exciting.
But once again, Canadian woman. Well, once again, it goes back to the Falcon and Winter Soldier. We not only see that Sam was changing, but we also see Bucky was changing, the Winter Soldier himself. When they finally had that conversation where he talked to Sam about how he feels, he still have those nightmares, and Sam's like, you don't have to change for anyone else. You don't have to make any. You don't have to be. You have to prove anything to anyone. So the only person you have to prove is yourself.
Right.
And he said instead of going to make reparations, like because he was crossing off, doing the same thing as Steve was doing, but crossing off stuff off his book that he has to do. Like he was taking down all the villains.
Make amends. To all the people he's wrong.
Make amends to all the people he made wrong. And it grew. I mean, he finally had that good night's sleep. He didn't have a nightmare when he woke up with seeing those kids playing. He didn't have a nightmare that night because he finally come to his idea that he understands what Sam was telling him. And that one scene when he went, I was going to tear up at that scene too, where he went to tell the father of the guy he killed about how he died and all that stuff. That brought me to tears. Like, because the last time he went to the father's door, he was like, let's go out for some drinks. He didn't go inside, but this time he went inside and he told him, and it was just like a heartbreak to see him do
Big
that.
Props to Sebastian Stan.
He did a really good job.
We spent about an hour on Anthony Mackie.
But he was good. He did a good job with
Fantastic job.
He was amazing. The camaraderie between both of them was awesome. We're not friends, but we knew someone, and we kind of maybe just working together, or maybe
it was kind of cool. You watch 6 episodes of watching a friendship grow.
Yeah, it was kind of it's kind of similar like me and Dave. We weren't really friends, and then we just kind of and now
I'm
we
more
work
like
together.
Anthony Mackie though, and you're more like Sebastian Stan.
and not only that, the surprise guest that they blew on us from Seinfeld. What to deal with Cannon? They brought in Louise Dreyfus from Veep, and she's now in the Marvel world. Now she plays a I can't remember her name.
Countess something.
Countess whatever, Victoria or whatever her name is. Don't call me that name. And so she brought her in, and I loved her character. It was really fun. It was light. It was just like, I can't wait to see what they're going to do more with her. But I do like the Captain America Walker storyline too. They kind of that one
story was amazing.
That one time, like you hated him. He took Captain America's shield and broke it. It was, you hated him. You're like seeing him trying to kill all these flag smashers.
That scene where he murdered the flag smasher.
Yeah, it's trying to get the flag smasher and everything like that. And now he comes back. He had a choice. He can either save some innocent lives, or he can go after the person that he wanted to take down. And he chose to be a hero, and he decided to save these people's life. He ended up becoming the new, he's not Captain America anymore, but he is now U.S. agent. He has the black uniform, just like Captain America, and he's going to be hired for coming up soon. You never know for what. Maybe the Red Hulk storyline, but we don't know yet. We don't know yet what's going on with that.
Are they doing a Red Hulk?
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything, but the General Ross there. So he came in. The storyline was great with his pain, because you could tell he was a soldier. He did everything that he was supposed to do. He was trying to do other thing, and his friend got killed. And that will if I saw Jedi Dave get hurt or something like that from someone, I would probably do the same, not like kill someone, but I'd be very upset and probably go after someone. I'm not saying I would, but I'm just saying. But I mean, I think his storyline was well done. The characters were amazing throughout the series. And then Peggy's little niece, Mrs. Carter there, she is kind of, now we found out that she is the broker, and I think she's going to be going into the Armored War now with Don Chino, with some ideas of getting those secrets through the Armor War, because the Armor War is supposed to take place a couple of months after the fact, or whatever the situation, a couple of years after the fact, where all of Tony Stark's stuff are getting out to people that they shouldn't get out to. So
that was cool too, to see a female villain. Yeah, honestly, they don't often do that.
But is she really a villain? Because she I don't know, because
I was like, oh dude, they spent like the last part of that episode telling, arrest her. I was just saying because she got treated badly with her from the country that she put love in. She put all the hard work for everything. She became the person that the country wanted to defend, and then they let her go. They felt that she was a traitor, and they put her to the curb. And once again, like going back to that, let's ask why.
Yeah, well.
but she's still the bad guy.
She's still the bad guy. But not only that, we also had a. I'm trying to remember what I was going to say. The Wakanda the suits from Wakanda.
Huge.
Me and the wife were sitting back, pausing every 5 seconds, and we're thinking what letter that Sam will write to Siri. That's Chadwick Boseman's T'Challa's sister, saying, "Thank you very much for giving me the suit that with the wings that are made of vibranium and the suit."
Apparently,
Thank
Sam
you.
Wilson has an African accent.
I know.
now.
I'm just saying, but thank you very much, and I did like thank you for the goggles. That now once again, I love
the
that.
suit was amazing.
There's
so much like the one in the comic book.
No,
it's freaking cool.
But the funny thing is that people were complaining about the suit, saying that's too much Tony Stark. They're doing too much Tony Stark. But I'm looking at it's the time that we're in right now, where technology is big for us. Right now, like technology is helping me and Jedi Day communicate to each other when we're 1,000 miles away from each other. The technology is the way to go. Like if it was like back in 1985, we wouldn't know anything about Zoom. Zoom wasn't around back in 1985, and when they do comics, technology is now the thing. I'm sorry to say.
I don't remember Zoom 2 years ago.
You know what I'm saying? Well, me too. But
prior to the pandemic, no one was talking about Zoom. Now it's like everyone talks about Zoom.
But you know what I mean? Technology is now the thing. So you can't compare that. His costume is kind of like Tony Stark. No, it's not. It's just
it wasn't anything like Tony Stark. Who said that?
I'm not saying what podcaster, but I'm just saying that.
Why do you even listen to another podcast?
I know. But I'm just saying.
Nothing like Tony Stark's.
He just said the technology kind of have that with the able to see through the smog and able to have the jetpack.
Oh, with the drone and like the drone on his back.
Well, yeah, and you can talk to it and you can see through.
Did that not remind you more of Booster Gold than anything else? It did. Like I was like, he was.
Find out who have pilot training.
Yeah. Oh my god, that scene was amazing.
Once again,
like, the stuff where he flies through helicopters and saves people.
My favorite.
Honestly, I never cared about flying. You never like most people. They say, "Oh, if I could do anything, I wish I could fly. I wish I could fly."
Yeah.
I never thought of that as a really cool power until Falcon. But like that's wicked to watch. What the stuff like, and then how he like shields himself with the wings.
Yeah.
How he like cuts through things with the wings. Like,
Once again,
guy, like,
thank you,
crazy.
Suri from Wakanda, for the
Oh,
it was amazing. And then the one part that got me is when he flew in and the truck was about to fall, and you're like, oh my god, how are they going to? I thought Bucky was going to reach his hand up and hold the truck up or something like that. But Sam came flying in, and no super soldier, just a jetpack. And push the truck back up so people can get out.
Crazy good.
It was so good. Like once again, I give this a 10 out of 10 for the series. Is it
and
better than WandaVision? It's a different kind of look. People are saying it's better.
I actually did like it better than WandaVision.
It's kind of different because they're both different things. But I think I'll give it a 10 out of 10 because I think the series wrapped up better than WandaVision because most people are still waiting. They felt like you felt after WandaVision, you felt kind of like, I wish I had something. Right. You know, where's Mephisto?
This sets me up for the movie, nice and clean.
Yeah. So this one is now ready for Captain America 4. We're going to see Sam as Captain America in Captain America 4. So I'm excited for this, and I give this a 10 out of 10. What do you give this?
I give it 10 out of 10 as well. You know what else? Like this last thought too. Okay. I loved. Not that I'm trying to steal the last thought, but
thank you.
Idea,
Black men never get the last thought.
Okay, I will purposely make sure that this is not the last thought. You better have something else to say.
I have nothing to say. Go ahead.
So I love the fact that it wasn't just Sam though at the end that saves that truck. It was also having John Walker or whatever come in too. Yeah. Right. And
he saved the first time. The first time he saved it.
The reason I like that is because that's the way the world gets better. And that I got to tell you, our brothers and sisters in the United States, that is how the world is going to get better for you too. Is if you can stop the infighting and come together and work together, you will actually see your country will benefit for it in the long run.
So true.
A divided country can never stand. What is like divided? United we stand, divided we fall.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you stand,
it's sad when you're allowing yourselves to be divided by your own ideologies instead of other people.
If you don't stand for anything, you'll fall for everything.
Absolutely.
That's the bottom line.
I heard that from Malcolm X. Apparently it was a president that said it before, but my hero is Malcolm X. Malcolm X said, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
All right, we're going to move into, we're going to review, not review, but we can review the new trailer for the brand new Shang-Chi with Canadian star. He's now.
Is it pronounced Shang? Is it Shang-Chi?
I think Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi. Yeah. Of course, like growing up where we only got to read it on a comic book cover, it was always Shang-Chi.
All right, so I'll let you start off with the review of it. Like, what do you think of that trailer?
I loved it.
How did you feel about? Are you ready for the movie? Did the trailer get you extra excited for the movie, or was it?
I was excited without a trailer. Honestly, let's be honest. Like, you actually studied kung fu growing up. I studied Goju Ryu, which is karate, right? So it's
See, that's why I don't like him. That's why I don't.
No, but I mean, like, the thing is that, like, I loved martial arts just growing up. Like, when I had no athletic skill whatsoever. I was 11 years old. I was in a foster home. I was in foster care, and my foster parents put me in karate because it's what I wanted to do so badly. And it gave me a level of confidence in myself. It gave me an understanding of other cultures that I had never been exposed to before. And that I spent probably since I was 11 years old. I've studied the Bushido Code. I studied Iaido. I studied Goju Ryu. Like, those are all things that my whole life, my whole ideology, my philosophy stemmed from that teaching.
Yeah.
So to see a Shang-Chi comic book when I was a kid, to see a martial artist, right, an Asian character, it was so cool because, like, it was badass, but at the same time there was so much philosophy that was being taught in those comic books. The old comic books, a little stereotype, right? There was a lot of stereotypes and things like that.
Little stereotype.
So what made me excited when I saw this trailer was the deviation away from the stereotypes.
Yeah.
Right. That it wasn't old school stereotypes. It was simply kung fu culture. It was an Asian culture. But at the same time, this is a superhero that you can see integrating into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU.
Yeah.
I was very pumped. I saw the trailer. It was cool to see Awkwafina.
She's awesome.
Simu Liu being Canadian, right? Like, the fact that he's a Chinese Canadian actor who just recently wrapped up on Kim's Convenience. He plays Jung on Kim's Convenience. He's absolutely brilliant and charismatic and good looking, right? Like, everyone loves to see him without his shirt off. So, and of course there was a shirtless scene in the trailer to make sure that
David was excited about that.
I'm just saying, I'm not a blind man. I know what a good looking guy looks like.
That's right.
Is a good looking man. Yeah,
that's right, Dave.
I gotta tell you, I was like always attracted to Asian women growing up, and my daughter is now attracted to Asian men. So it's like her and I, like, it was just finally, I told her so much that her and I have so much in common, like her sense of humor, personality, everything. And we're sitting there the other day, and she, like, out of nowhere, she finally says, "You and I are so much alike." And I'm like, "You don't say." It's not like I didn't tell you that before. But yeah, like, it's funny. We butt heads a lot, and we're constantly, because we're so much alike, right? That we easily get frustrated with each other. We easily get annoyed with each other. But she's absolutely amazing. So yeah, she was, I'm sure, happy to see the shirtless scene too with Simulio.
My opinion about it, it's a great trailer. It was a good, well, not a good 30. It was like a 3-minute trailer, so it was a great 3-minute trailer to give us the idea of the hero. He was raised up to be the takeover for his father, who is, guess who the father is? That we were supposed to have him.
Maury Povich. Who is the father?
The father is the holder of the 10 rings.
Oh,
you know who it is? He's an Iron Man villain.
Oh, the Mandarin.
The Mandarin. He's the real Mandarin. His father is the real Mandarin.
I did not know that is that from the comic book too? That Shang-Chi's real father is the Mandarin?
The real father that they didn't want to use was Fu Manchu. And Fu Manchu was his real father. Yeah, so they didn't want to use that character. I don't know if they have the rights to the Fu Manchu character or not, but they didn't want to use that character. So they ended up using the Mandarin to be his father. And actually, if you watch the trailer, you see him wearing the rings around his arm. Like, now they're not using normally the rings on your finger, but they're rings around our arm.
To get away from Thanos.
Yeah, so they want to do the rings around his arm, the 10 rings around his arm. So the story starts off with that. You found out that he'd been training over the years to him and his sister to take over for his father. He gave him after the years, he gave him 10 years to find himself, more or less, to go out to look at the world and see what the world can offer him before he becomes taken over. And that's where we come to now. It's been 10 years after the fact when he left to explore the world. He made friends. He became like a normal person, have a good time. He parks people's cars, the basic superhero thing. And then we find out that he's supposed to come back and he doesn't want to come back. He doesn't want to take over. And that's where we see clips of him going back. There are going to be some clips of back in the day. They're going to do some time travel, I guess. I don't know. You see the little dogs that they have, that were attacking people. You have some dragons might be in it. A whole list of stuff that you will see. You see a fight with his sister. What's her name's in it? She's from James Bond. She is the Asian agent from James Bond, the Pierce Brosnan.
Michelle Yeoh.
Michelle Yeoh's in it too.
I did not know Michelle Yeoh's in this
we don't
movie.
know what character she could play, but mind you, she was already in Guardians of the Galaxy. We don't know what character she's going to play in this Marvel episode of the character.
Miss Beijing.
Yeah, she's amazing in it. But the storyline it tells you what to expect in this great battle. Now, once again, he doesn't have. If you read some of the comics, he doesn't have powers, and sometimes he does have powers. So it's going to be interesting.
Like tapping into the chi, right?
Yeah,
like tapping in, like Iron Fist a little bit.
Whoa! Don't talk about that bad Iron Fist. But as I was saying,
in the comic books, Iron Fist was really cool.
Yeah, in the comics, not in the TV series. But yeah, so it's and they do team up sometimes in the comics too, actually. So it's kind of funny. Yeah. But he is part of the Avengers in the comics. It's going to be interesting to see how they do this. But I'm so excited. Like I really hopefully that everyone get their get the pandemic needles and everyone's ready and the theaters are open because I want to see this in the theaters. I want to go with Jedi Dave to see this in the theater, and I want to be in the line, and I want to pay the money, and I want to cheer, and this is going to be amazing. Like this is the first ever lead in a superhero movie who is Asian descent, and it's going to be awesome to see. I want people to go out. I want everyone to go out to support this movie, and they should. And I think it's a great movie to see. And he seems amazing in this movie so far. Yeah. We know his acting's good, and I think it's going to be a great movie. And I'm
nervous about the fight sequences. Like I really want I was hoping to see Yan Wu-Ping being the choreographer for this movie, right? I think there were moments though you could see the old school kung fu type of stuff where they're jumping on shields and they can walk along walls and stuff like that. And I and everyone's like, "Oh, come on!" I've got to see that. That's kung fu, right? When I saw that in Mulan, I was so pumped because that's the way it needs to be. I want to see that. And so I'm so excited to see.
And you're
that.
right about the chi. When I took Wing Chun for about 4 or 5 years, it was all about the chi. It wasn't about. We don't have belts like Jedi Dave there.
That's still an American thing.
Belts,
the
belt thing is just like
North America.
Red belt, green belt. They do I get a belt? He's like, yeah, you got one right now. It's on your belt. Like that. It was all about the chi. Working one of the classes I took. It was kind of funny because it's Wing Chun. It was the art that Bruce Lee kind of designed. He was not that he
Jeet Kune Do.
Not Jeet Kune Do, but his teacher. It was Wing Chun that Bruce Lee learned.
Right.
His teacher was one of the founders of the Wing Chun. He had different students who come to him, and he was teaching for the longest time. So we had one of his students came by our class, and we're like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, this is Bruce Lee's teacher." So cool. And we're like, "And this is now it's a funny thing. Is this old Asian guy?" And we're thinking, this guy can't do anything. And he's like, "Yeah, you got the old beard and everything." He's an old guy, right? So we started the class out. He's like, "We're going to do 100 push-ups." I'm like, "All right, 100 push-ups," but this old guy can't do 100 push-ups. He was out push-upping me, and I was like 18 at the time. So we had to do 100 sit-ups. He was out. He was just ridiculous. And then we had to break up in sparring partners, and we each get a turn to spar with him. Oh my God. This old man whooped my butt. And the funny thing, they don't go light on you because you're learning about the one punch, right? So he does. They don't go light on you. They don't go light. They really this old man could do.
Someone to learn if you go light, right?
He went at me. I'm like, this brother, whatever. I can take this old man. And then all of a sudden, I was like down. I was like, you're right. You are the master. You are the master. Mm-hmm. You are. And it was. But once again, it goes back to that, and I think that we're going to get a great movie. The actors they have in it is amazing. The fight with his sister looked kind of cool.
That scene in the streetcar was badass.
Oh, that not streetcar, it was a bus.
The bus where he does the split kick.
He did the split kick.
I mean, like I'm saying, I feel like maybe they're holding back on the martial arts stuff in the trailer because they don't want they don't want to ruin that for you.
Yeah.
They want you to see.
Well,
the
that's
movie.
for that. Once again, that's a teaser trailer. 3 minutes
Yeah.
is a teaser trailer. Comes out September of this year.
Yeah.
And the 3rd. Yeah, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to follow after Spider-Man. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah, because Marvel right now have to start releasing their movies because they've been putting it back. Falcon and Winter Soldier was what's supposed to go into the Black Widow storyline, kind of. So they have to start releasing.
And then Loki comes out.
Loki comes out.
Black Widow.
Then Black Widow, and we also have the Marvels What If, like that series.
Is Black Widow set before or after the Avengers movies?
It's before one of the Avengers movies.
Okay.
So I can't remember which one, but she was still alive. I think it was before
maybe the 5-year span
before the flip,
before the last movie,
before the split, before the blip.
Okay.
So she was still alive then. So that was our review on the Shang-Chi.
Last thing.
Sorry. The white man have the last thing. Go ahead.
No, I see what you're doing. Go.
White privilege. No, joking.
Don't even get me started.
All right, so
let's just vilify me.
Well, hey man, if we can't.
Damn my lack of pigmentation.
All right. So
what's wrong with me?
Hey, it's funny.
Weak and bad.
He says he's gonna buy a new laptop. I'm like, wow. He's like, yeah, white privilege. I'm like, wow. How did that work out?
Oh my gosh! No. There was like a bonus at work.
Hey. If we can't bug friends, who can?
Oh, for sure.
My wife just gave me some dirty looks right now too. Hi, honey. Love you. All right, so let's get into our last thing we're going to talk about, and this is all you. I have nothing. Quick. This is all you.
I'm going to give you a spoiler-free review of Mortal Kombat.
Is it going to be spoiler-free?
It is spoiler-free. So, for those of you who played the games, my ex-girlfriend and I. This is years back when I first met you.
Yeah.
That girl that I was with at that time.
Yes, I know that.
That girl. So. We'd get into like arguments and disputes, and we'd actually play Mortal Kombat 2 to decide. And like my favorite character was Scorpion, right? So like
get over
here, right? So like I loved that. But I mean, so I was a fan of the games, but I'm not a huge fan of the games because they're like 11 games now. I think they're like Mortal Kombat 11 or something like that. So my daughter, huge fan of the games. I don't know. I don't know if I should be worried that my 19-year-old daughter is into excessive violence or watching people pull their spines out of their back, whatever. But
she's 19. She's an adult.
Yeah, she loved the movie. I think I thought it was very fun. It's a very fun movie. It's very entertaining. I felt after seeing the first 7 minutes, because they released the first 7 minutes of the movie for people to watch.
Yeah.
And me being a massive Hiroyuki Sanada fan, like I love this guy. He's like he's
been in a lot of stuff. Like he's been in some Canadian projects.
Samurai, I've been a huge fan.
He's been in a lot of Canadian projects. He was also in Endgame. Speed Racer, Endgame.
He fought Ronin. He was actually in Wolverine.
Yeah, right? He was.
Right. So like there's a lot of things that he's done where I'm a huge Sanada fan. He was in 47 Ronin with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Right. So so when I saw him in this opening scene, the opening scene was so dramatic and so amazing. I thought this movie's going to be off the hook. It's going to be so good. So in what I was expecting, I was a little disappointed because I thought there could be a lot more substance than there was.
Yeah.
And the fight sequences were a little bit lacking in what I was hoping to see.
Yeah.
But if you are a huge fan of the games and you are familiar with the storylines, I think you're going to be very pleased with this movie. I think it's, like I said, it's a lot of fun. If it's worth $25 to stay at home and watch it, that's up to you. I mean, it really depends on but I don't want you if you keep your expectations a little bit lower than what I thought mine was. Sometimes movies are too good. Like I actually remember going to see Dark Knight, and I thought, okay, like I'm expecting a fun comic book movie.
Did we see it together?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, I think we just said
I was expecting a fun comic book movie.
Yeah.
And it was so dramatic and serious and real. And I thought, okay, it's like wanting to go see like Star Wars, and instead you saw The Godfather. There'd be a level of disappointment there, even though you saw a significantly better movie.
Yeah.
Whereas with this movie, it was the opposite. Because of that opening 7-minute scene, I thought I was going to get something a lot more of substance.
Yeah.
Out of 4 stars, I'd probably give it maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun and entertaining. You asked me, would it have been better if I'd seen it in the theater? I don't think so. Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh my God.
I wanted to see that in the theater.
We have to go see it again when it comes.
I was pumped, man. I thought you were coming down. We were going to go see
this
this
before
movie.
the extra pandemic and we were locked
down. Then the third wave hit. So for the Americans who are listening to this show, you guys suddenly were behind us as far as handling this pandemic. And then
they're ahead of us.
Leapfrogged us, man. You guys, you got like 9-year-olds getting vaccinated. You got 20,000 people in the stands to watch a basketball game.
Yeah,
and we can't even leave our home without being arrested.
Yeah,
so they rescinded that idea.
I know that
was the original part. Yeah, that was. I was like, what? I was like, what just happened? I was really pumped. I wanted to go see Godzilla versus Kong with you, and then all of a sudden we couldn't go. We got to watch it at home. That was a fantastic movie. Mortal Kombat it's worth it to watch it if you're a big fan of the games. I think you're going to be very happy.
All right, so that's our wrap up of what we talked about today here on Destination Hoth. We want to thank you for tuning in and listening. Once again, you can always follow us at
D Hoth Podcast
on Twitter.
It's been a while since we've done this. I forgot where we were.
And don't forget, we also you can follow us on our Instagram page at Destination Hoth. If you want to send in a question or a comment, you can always email it to us at destinationhoth@gmail.com. And we will love to hear from you. Now, don't forget to like and subscribe to the page down there.
Daddy Rich is pointing like we're on video.
I know, like on video down there. And on the link. Let us know that you leave some comments and let us know that you like it. Big shouts out to new people who just subscribed to the channel. We're going to be working on podcasts because I know some people can't usually have this YouTube on. So we're going to definitely work on putting most of our stuff onto a podcast so you can hear it and you can like it and all that stuff and share it with your friends and all that stuff. We're going to come back soon with a May 4th special for Star Wars, May the 4th. I don't know if we should wait till after or before because it might release some new stuff. I'm still kind of thinking about that, but you never know.
Bad Batch debuts on May 4th, but we'll drop our episode for May 4th. And we can have another episode after that and talk about whatever's new.
Yeah, okay, we could do that. We never know. They might be announcing the names of the Star Wars movies that's supposed to be coming out. So
right,
other than the ones that already came.
The one I'm looking forward to is Daddy Rich and Jedi Dave meet Vader.
That's a fun. We met the Emperor already.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we like, we're not worthy. Bow down. And we're like, okay. It's like, no,
we have that on video. We do have video.
You still have it? Or do I have it?
I do.
Okay.
I actually posted it on YouTube.
Okay, so we still have it. So, yeah, it's going to be awesome. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, week, weekend, whatever you're doing. This is Destination Hoth with your